All right, guys, a lot of you guys are thinking about moving from your home country. For whatever reason, you want to move, start a new life, live somewhere else, live in another country. You looked at Costa Rica maybe you've seen some of our videos and you said, I don't know, I don't think Costa Rica is really a good fit. Hey man, at some time maybe Nicaragua comes up on your radar, Nicaragua. Hey honey, what about this Nicaragua place? It looks all right. Well, I got a lot to say about Nicaragua. I want to give you some information so you can make a good decision whether Nicaragua is a good choice for you or not. We're going to get to that in a minute. Hey guys, I'm Michael Allen for TravelCostaRicaNow.com. TravelCostaRicaNow.com is a travel agency. So go to TravelCostaRicaNow.com, fill out the 4-minute form, and you'll be that much closer to the vacation of a lifetime like you, having best friends who live in Costa Rica, who know Costa Rica, totally hooking up your Costa Rica vacation. YouTube doesn't care if you subscribe. I care that you subscribe, and I appreciate that you subscribe. But if you want to see our next video, keep updated on the vaccine mandates, the entry requirements, expat interviews, travel tips, talking about medical tourism. We do a lot of different types of videos. And if you want to be kept up, you got to hit the notification bell, and that way it will sequence. And then you can go, oh my God, they put up a new video. I don't want to watch it, or I want to watch it. All right. Okay, so this first thing, guys, this is in my head. Don't take this too serious. We'll get to the serious stuff in a minute. I love saying I live in Costa Rica. You know why? Because I love the sound Costa Rica. I know it's probably 50 years ago when they started marketing, but I think we have the best name for a country in the world, Costa Rica. When you say that, you know why people think a lot of people think it's an island? Because it sounds like that paradise, palm trees, sand, pina coladas, man, or that, you know, that scene in Jurassic Park. Actually, that's not Costa Rica. But anyway, you just can't help think when people say Costa Rica, paradise, baby, and I love saying it. Well, Nicaragua has the opposite effect. I don't like the word. I think but I'm sure it's because, you know, I conjure up Sandinistas. I used to play this game back in the day called Contras. Every narco movie I watch has shady ass Nicaraguans in it. Yes, I know, stereotyping, I get that. They just didn't know how to market. You got a little bit of a third world country versus a developing country in marketing, and Costa Rica definitely won because Nicaragua is just as beautiful. But anyway, okay, that's just me, man, that's just me. Okay, first off, I'm not saying Costa Rica is a good fit for you. Costa Rica is not right for everybody. Not everybody should be living here. Costa Rica's got its issues, maybe even more issues than wherever you're coming from or even Nicaragua, all right? This isn't a Nicaragua versus Costa Rica thing, okay? People like to go, well, you're trying to promote Costa Rica. Hey man, I don't know how to say this any more clear. I don't give a fuck if you move to Costa Rica or not. I just try to provide some perspective from, you know, my experiences, a little bit of information on whether Costa Rica is a good fit for you. But I don't care really, all right? Okay, and the other thing I want to say is I love Nicaragua. I've been to Nicaragua 17 million times. We used to go all the time for our back and forths. We hung out at Granada a lot. It's beautiful. It's, you know, I like the people, and oh my God, it's so much cheaper. So much cheaper, man. When you go over there, you're like, woo, pizza's like $7 for a big pizza. So I'm not saying that. And I always used to say prior to 2018, I used to say if I didn't live in Costa Rica, I will live in Nicaragua. That's how much I like Nicaragua. Wouldn't move there now. And we're going to get to that now here in a second. So not everybody lives in Central America. You don't keep up. You don't know, maybe. That's why I'm going to tell you. Okay. They just had their elections last Sunday. And our man, the dictator, Daniel Ortega, won. 4th consecutive term. One of the reasons he won? Because he wasn't opposed. There was nobody there because they were all in jail. Anyway, they had their elections. He won. Guess who his vice president is? Do you know who his vice president is? His wife. How cool is that, man? You and your wife running the country, man. No nepotism there. Nothing to see here. Anyway, so if you don't know anything about Daniel Ortega, I'm not going to get into it big time. But what happened was, and the reason I started changing my opinion, back in 2018, people were starting to get vocal against Daniel Ortega, and they were starting to protest in the streets. And there were a lot of people were getting popular with their political beliefs, speaking out against him. Bunch of protests. Well, Daniel Ortega, the dictator, does what any dictator would do. He's going to squash that. There's going to be curfews. There's going to be guns. There's going to be army, and there's going to be a lot of arrests. You say one thing, you're either going on house arrest or you're going to be arrested. And a lot of people, I don't know, I'm not sure about, a lot of people died. I'm not sure if he killed other political people. I just know during protests, quite a few people died. So this was a very, very scary time. So this is when I had friends there. Like I said, Nicaragua was beautiful. I had a lot of friends. They own a restaurant there. Tourism is there. They had a tour company or whatever. They since left because 2018, which this thing lasted a couple years, and it got really scary. And obviously, not a lot of people, want to tour in a scary country, basically. They say that about 100,000 Nicaraguans left since 2018. I'm going to go with a higher count on that, but they say about 100,000. So it was very scary times since 2018. Tourism is back to, I guess, to a degree. I'm not saying you can't go there. I'm not saying you can't enjoy the country right now. I'm not saying anything that it's even scary that way as far as that kind of protest. Although I'm sure they're protesting a little bit, but again, they can't say much. Anyway, visit, yes, go ahead. So there was a mass exodus. But what's happening since he's been elected again, now you have to remember, he's repression and surveillance. So you say something against him, it's over. And he won the election because he put everybody against him in jail. Okay, so he runs a country, repression and surveillance. Everybody knew the election was a sham. The United States has spoken against it, EU. And of course the EU and the states sanctioned them and all that. And you know who his friends are, right? Obviously China, Russia, Venezuela. Not saying anything about that, but those are his friends. But the problem is the future does not look good, of repression, the economic hardship they're going to have to continue endure for that country. And I'm sure as a culture, they've got to be somewhat saddened by their predicament. So, I don't know, it just doesn't look good. Now, did I say that there's like 44% poverty? Not good. So again, the future's not looking good. Now, some of you guys might go, well, that's opportunity, Michael. That's opportunity. Maybe you guys got some money. Hey, man, maybe I just don't see something and maybe there's opportunity there. I'm not saying there isn't. And maybe you just go there, you live and you just rent. Maybe that could work. Maybe that could work. I just don't know. It seems like, I don't know. There has to be a very unsettling attitude of just the people, of seeing their country since 2018 kind of going, so I don't know. Okay, but here's the real reason why I wouldn't live there. I have two quick stories. Now, what I hate about stories I'm about to tell you, I hate cherry-picked stories. When people cherry pick something. So in other words, you tell your neighbor, yes, we're thinking about moving to Costa Rica. And she goes, I wouldn't live there. There was a murder there yesterday. It's very dangerous. I wouldn't go there. Or the one that says, oh, I had a friend went to Costa Rica and they got robbed. Yes. Did not we establish that whatever probably happens where you're at can happen in Costa Rica? We do have issues. I'm not saying we don't. But again, I just don't like when people kind of base it off this. But these two stories I kind of like because I think this shows a lack of maybe personal control you can have on your life if bad things happen. So the first story is this. We spent a lot of time, like I said, in Nicaragua because we used to do a lot of our back and forths there. Going back, passport stamp, perpetual tour stuff. So we love Grenada. Two Belgian friends, two guys from Belgium, started a small, like 4-room, 5-room, small boutique hotel in Grenada. Yes, it was gay. And then subsequently, they also had bought some land where they started, they were going to have a little kind of mini gay community. They were building condos. I think they had 2 or 3 already built. Somebody was living in one. They had a pool. I mean, they were doing it. They weren't just talking. They were doing it. Well, at some point, pedophilia started getting thrown around. And the police went to them, or the powers, I can't remember if it was the police or the government or something like that, pretty much said, if you don't give us $100,000 to make this go away, you're going to have problems. Well, they did what we would do, what you would do, what I would do. They did this. They go, we don't care. We didn't do anything, so let's do it. Let's go to court. We know we're innocent, so let's do this. Big mistake. Big mistake. So what ended happening, obviously there's a lot more details into this story and nuances. I'm totally outlining it. So the police basically went to some of the guys that worked for them, over 18 by the way, over 18, and pressured them to testify against them, saying things that didn't happen. I mean, just lies, because they were pretty much blackmailed to do it. Bad things are going to happen to you if you don't testify against them. So guess what happened? They went to jail, man. They went to jail. Corrupt judges, corrupt police, corrupt testimony, corrupt everything. And they were in jail, I can't remember, I think about 5 years. Money got them out of jail because they were supposed to spend a lot more time in jail. Money got them out of jail. So they lost, I don't know if, I mean, they never went back. And I do know that when the police raided the place and like took everything that wasn't nailed down, I don't know who owns the property anymore, but I just know most of the stuff on the property was taken, vehicles, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, not a lot of recourse there. The second story, guy builds a house up on a hill. There's a road. There's other houses on that hill. One of the houses down the hill, unscrupulous character lived in that house. So what did he do? He told him, gringo up here living in the house, you have to pay every time you go past my house on this road. And extorted money from him. Totally illegal, extorted money every time he used the road to go back to his house or down the road. He couldn't do nothing about it because he worked in some sort of government power organization or whatever it was. And that is my point. Yes, maybe you could go there, start something, rent something, and maybe you wouldn't have a problem. But if you do, you're going to lose, because it's, you know, we all kind of know every government's corrupted to some, I mean, every government's corrupted, right? We all kind of know that. But there's corruption and then there's corruption. There's strong arm, like we don't care, you know, where it's much more blatant. Well, Nicaragua's blatant. And that's why I just, yeah, I couldn't live there. That's it, man. That's it. That's my story. All right, guys, I'm Michael Allen, TravelCostaRicaNow.com. Peace, guys. Hope it helps. Things are going to pop up. If you're thinking about living or traveling anywhere, always do your research and homework. And if it's Costa Rica's on your map, I think I'll put my videos in perspective and stuff against anybody. So check them out. All right, man. Have a good one.